Welcome to the Bushido Gang. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's Attack on Samurai, bringing you all another Pokemon Sword, or not Sword and Shield. We're doing some GSC stuff for Wednesday. Even though it's kind of late, you guys may end up seeing this vid tomorrow, honestly. You guys may end up seeing this vid on Thursday. But yeah, this is my game. I wanted to talk about my matches for Pokemon Perfect League or PPL. So, for PPL, my team, the Blackthorn Dragoons, I'd say that overall, my team, we had a pretty good season. Everyone managed to pulled their weight, played the best of their ability. As for myself, I really didn't contribute a lot to the team. Instead, I just complained about every loss I had, and I only helped with making the builds for the RBY players on the team. So I didn't really contribute a lot. I felt like I kind of just brought the team down. Like, my games were not good. I'm gonna say it now. My games were not good. There were like situations where I had a chance to bring them back, but I just, fell to the pressure, and I just couldn't play up to par for this tournament or for this league. Granted, this league isn't even was kind of like a, what's it called? Like, they drafted a lot of players that were like myself, that were not known yet. And just have some tournament experience. So it was kind of like, I don't know how to really describe it, but it was kind of meant to be like a low risk kind of tournament, I guess, or tour team or team tour. I guess that's what it really was. Kind of a low risk kind of tour, but I don't know. See, like, getting into PPL, I thought, it was like a cool thing. Like, it was just like, man, I get to play with all these like top tier players, and I get to see how they play, and I get to also play myself and maybe play against them. But I mean, yeah, it was like that, but I think I focused too much on that I got distracted and wanted to try hard, I guess. Be a try hard player. And just play like kind of like act like aggressively. Like, for GSC, I don't think it's a metagame you need to play aggressively with. Like, it's a metagame that, you should take your time with and just evaluate what's actually going on before actually going gung-ho on your opponent. Because it's not like current gens where you can do that. You don't need to do that in this gen. Because everything is so bulky and doesn't die in one hit that you can afford to just take your time with the games. But unfortunately, that's not the way how I played it. And where I played for this tour, and I just played very aggressively and didn't take a lot of time into scouting for what my opponent was doing and just playing. So yeah, gonna talk about my matches for GSC. So before we get started with these matches and just breaking all of them down, please make sure to leave a like and comment on the video. Let me know, if you want to see me do more of these tournament review things. So yeah. Again, we got 4 games here. This was week 4 of the PPL, where I played against Potate. Then week 5, I played against Oibaf. Week 6, I played against Luck over Skill, and then week 7, I played against GLF. So like 3 out of 4 of these players I played against before. I played against them before in some tournaments or in some separate tours. I actually think I played against all 3 of them in the GSC Open on PPL or on Pokemon Perfect. So, or at least in some fashion, I think I have. Well, actually, no, I think I played Potate for RBY, but I think that might have been that. No, I did play it from GSC Open too. Or for GSC Open. I'm sure I did, or I recall playing against him, but. When I played him, I wasn't really sure what to expect. Like, I knew he was kind of like weird. Like, I knew it was kind of weird with what he likes to use. But I was not prepared for him bringing stall. In fact, a lot of the players I played against for this league actually brought stall against me, and I had no idea how to play around it. Stall in GSC is, one of the harder play styles to use because half your team has a way to deal with tar, or has a way to deal with lax, and then you have one mon that's there to deal with the electrics, being Reiku or maybe like a ground type or something like Golem. But usually it's gonna be Reiku on stall to take on Zapdos. So let's break down this game and let's see where everything went wrong. So I'm gonna try and like go as fast as I can through these matches because again, this game was very long. It was almost 200 turns. So I'll try and like speed up the process as best I can and just evaluate each turn as best as I can and as fast as I can. So here we go. Game 1 versus Potato. Let's see what happens. So turn 1, I lead Nidoking and he leads with a Snorlax. So Nidoking versus Snorlax. Now this is actually a pretty good lead for my Nidoking, but it also can be a dangerous lead because it could depend on what kind of Lax he is. But what's important is that Nidoking is supposed to get off a Sleep Talk, or supposed to get off a Lovely Kiss. So this Nidoking, or actually this team that I have is basically a double Thief team with Nidoking and Gengar. Again, I don't remember like what was the whole thought process behind running double Thief, but I believe that when I was talking with Zakuro, again the coach of the Dragoons, of my team of the Dragoons, I believe he said that Potato might bring some kind of stall, so I should have some way to like pressure that stall. So I thought Nidoking plus Gengar would actually kind of help against that. So I decided to commit with that because again, thiefing Lax or thiefing Reiku is going to put me up by quite a lot if I can keep the momentum in my favor. So what I do here is I go for the Lovely Kiss because Lovely Kiss is pretty much the best play and covers Lax and also covers whatever switching he goes for. I go for Lovely Kiss and I missed the Skarmory switch. So Skarmory, dodging that Lovely Kiss definitely sucks because again, at this point, or I mean, it's early on in the game and I don't know what kind of Skarmory he is yet, but still, missing Lovely Kiss in general definitely sucks. So he goes into the Snorlax as I go for my Lovely Kiss on the switch, and I do land it on the Lax now. So now what I can do is I can thief the Snorlax to take away his lefties. So I take away the lefties there, which means that he's going to lose recovery, which is definitely going to be in my favor. So what he's going to do is go for a Sleep Talk, and he's going to be able to reroll the rest. So in case you don't know, in GSC, Sleep Talk can actually reset rest. So that means that you're able to get a full recovery off, and also remove whatever, and also like pretty much reset sleep as well. So Lovely Kiss being landed doesn't mean anything anymore because he's able to re-roll the rest, and that means that he'll be able to wake up in 2 turns like with rest normally. While with Lovely Kiss, his odds will be a little bit less in his favor because Lovely Kiss can only work, because Lovely Kiss or just sleep moves in general have a range between I think 1 to 6. So yeah, he's able to break out of that and reset the rest, which means that he'll be able to recover back to full. And I got to go closer here, so I go closer here as he's going to stay in here and go for the and just waste a turn. So in comes Starmie. I go for my Spike here, so I bring my Spike out. So with my Spike being down on the Starmie, that's definitely gonna help with Lax and also help out with his other grounded mons. So I felt pretty confident getting my Spike down, which is definitely gonna be in my favor. So now I'm in the situation where it's Starmie versus Cloyster. So Starmie versus Cloyster is actually not a good position to be in. Now you're probably wondering, Samurai, what does that mean? Well, it means that this Starmie can 1v1 Cloyster. So I'll show you the calc right now. So Starmie versus Cloyster, kind of just like how it is in GSC and RBY. Starmie always beats Cloyster no matter what. Like always. And as you can see, that's still the case here with Cloyster. Or with Cloyster and GSC. So my own Surf does 15 to 18%, which is not a lot, while his Surf does 26 to 31%, and he also has the chance to have Psychic as well. So this Starmie is not a mon I want to stay in on. And plus, Starmie likes to run substitute, at least on, you know, like more bulky teams, or I mean, like not bulky teams, but on more like stall teams. So that's what I learned after playing this game. That Starmie, you know, like the Starmie is can be very irritating to play around, because if you don't have a way to really like pressure it, then it can really just start wearing you down very fast. So especially with the spike down too, which he'll be able to have, because again, almost every GSC team has spikes on it. So yeah, Starmie is going to go for a sub on the next turn as I go for Toxic. So I did not know that Starmie ran substitute. In fact, at this point that I was playing against Potate, I actually did not know that about Starmie in general. Like, I don't really face Starmie that much, so I don't know the matchup against it. Like, I don't know what I do against Starmie. I wasn't sure what kind of Starmie he was. I wasn't sure if he was gonna spin or if he was gonna do like Surf or Toxic back. That's why I felt like Toxic was safe anyway, just because it did catch this thing if he did go for Surf or Psychic, or whatnot. But yeah, he subs there. So sub means that he'll be able to 1v1 my Cloister, and I can't really hit him back because Surf does 15 to 18%, and that's not gonna break his substitute. So what I do here is I go for, as I switch out and go in Lax here. So I go Lax as he brings in Surf, as he goes for Surf on the Starmie, or with Starmie. So now he's able to do that. He can also just spin here too, pretty safely, and I'll be able to break his sub, but he's able to remove the spike and get his own spike up right now if he wants to, or even go into Skarmory if he wants to take the hit. So what he's gonna do is he is gonna go Skarmory as I go for Cloister here. So I go for my Cloister here, and now we're in a position where it's Cloister versus Skarmory. Cloister versus Skarmory isn't exactly something I want to deal with, because Toxic sucks. Drill Peck can also hurt too. So Toxic plus Drill Peck can really wear down Cloister by a lot, and I also want to try and keep my spikes down as well. But at this point in the game, I don't know what kind of Skarmory he is, so I felt pretty confident just going for spikes again. Or actually, no, I went for Toxic in case he went Starmie, because I wasn't sure if he was going to stay in and go for Surf, or was going to stay in on my Surf. So what I do here on turn 10 is I go for Toxic. But what he does is he actually goes for Toxic of his own. So with him revealing Toxic, I'm not really sure what that means yet. Because what I'm kind of used to when I see Skarmory, I'm kind of used to seeing stuff like Curse Whirlwind, Drill Peck, or even like Drill Peck Whirlwind, Sleep Talk, or whatnot. So when I saw Toxic, I was very confused. I wasn't sure what that meant exactly, but I do know that my Cloister being Toxic is really bad, because that means that now Starmie will effectively 3KO me. So that's really, really bad. I go for Spike now, as what he's going to do is go for the Toxic again in case I switch, which I did not switch here yet. So what I do now is he actually goes Fortress there as I go for Toxic again. Went Toxic again because I thought he'd go back into Starmie, but he has no reason to do that when I keep going for it. And Surf would have been good too, but again, if I surfed, he would have just been able to spin here anyway, or just surf back on me. So it's not looking good for me. Fortress being in here means he'll be able to spike down. So he will spike here as I go into Gengar. In case he wanted to spin. I wasn't sure if like double spin was even a thing in GSC. I don't think it even is a thing. But he brings in Fortress, gets his spike down, and I have no spinner, which is really bad right now. Or it's not really bad since I'm running offense, but it's not like horrible at the same time. So with Fortress being in here, now Fortress is in here. He gets his lefties back, and now in comes Raikou. So what I do is I go for a Thief. Now I get a crit there. That crit doesn't really matter, but getting the Thief off and removing lefties is actually really good, because that means that Raikou's going to get worn down by the spikes even faster, and I have a little bit of an easier time with Chloe, maybe just to surf him through, or again like quick him down with the Nidoking. So there's a lot that's going on right now with Raikou getting its lefties thieved. So right now the momentum is kind of in my favor, kind of. However, Chloe is poisoned, but at least 2 of his mons have no recovery anymore. So what I do here is, well, one, I do believe I switch here because I'm not sure what kind of Reiku this would be, and also I'd want to stay in on this in case he has a Tar. So I believe that on this turn I actually do switch in case he goes into Tar. But what he does instead, he actually goes for Thunder. So when I saw him go for Thunder, I wasn't really sure what that meant. Like, why would he Thunder there? Like, what if he risked like a Boom or something, or what if he risked like Ice Beam, like Ice Punch Freeze or something like that? Granted, that's not a really good reason to stay in with Gengar anyway, but still, he did Thunder and really didn't fear anything. So I bring in Nidoking now, and what I can do with Nidoking is that I can actually go for Lovely Kiss again on something else, or I can just Earthquake. So this is going to be forced out because he doesn't want to take Earthquake. He brings in Lax as I go for the Ice Beam. So I go Ice Beam in case he wanted to go into Skarmory, because I feel like Skarmory was his best switch-in for me, or even maybe Starmie as well. But he's pretty much trying to like deduce what kind of set I am. So he sees that I'm running Ice Beam, or that I'm running Thief, Ice Beam, and Lovely Kiss, which means that he'll probably deduce that I don't have Thunder, which means that Starmie is very safe for him, and he could pretty much like come in on this very freely. So yeah, and Ice Beam not doing a whole lot. Definitely is not going to be in my favor. So turn 17, I go for an Earthquake as he's able to as he's going to be resting there, and I'm hoping he doesn't get a Sleep Talk roll and get rest again, but he does get rest again. He's going to be able to rest that off one more time. So now he's going to be able to re-roll his rest. I'm running low on Earth. Well, actually, I go for my other Earthquake. I can bring in Tar now, as I'm going to start phasing him. What he's going to do here is actually waste a turn of sleep. He's going to waste another turn of sleep as I go for my Roar, and I'm going to phase him out. So I phase him out now, and Fortress is going to come in here. And now what happens is I actually make a is that what I do is I go into Gengar here on the switch. Now, Fortress versus Tar, technically I could just Rock Slide here. I probably should have Rock Slide because actually looking at the damage, to be honest, Fortress versus Tar versus Tyranitar. Usually, well, sometimes Tar does run Fire Blast. So what he's going to do is he's actually going to make the smart play and just, scout for it and switch out. So he's actually going to switch out, and he's going to make the play to go into Tar as I bring in Gar in case he wanted to stay in. But to be honest, that was not a good play on my end. Staying in with switching out Tar as he brings in his own Tar. To be honest, I think I had better odds just going for Rock Slide instead of actually going for the instead of actually staying in. Or instead of actually switching out. If I went for Slide, that definitely gave me a little bit more opportunity, but I also would have seen what kind of Tar he was as well, or would have seen his other Mon, since he had to switch there. But yeah, I should have went for Slide instead, but I didn't, and because of that, I potentially could get punished here by Suit, but my opponent is not going to go for Suit. He's going to go for Slide as I bring in Cloy, and he's going to make that Slide on the switch. And Cloy is going to get weakened very heavily. So, with him sliding there, I wasn't really sure what that meant. To be honest, I switched out Gar in case he went for Earthquake or even went for, or again, if he did Suit, then well, Gar still would have lived it barely, but at least it would have been alive. But I couldn't stay in on Earthquake. I couldn't stay in on anything Tar was doing. So I had to go into Cloy in case he went for Earthquake, but again, he went for Slide. So he reveals he reveals one of his moves, which is going to be Slide there. So what I do is I go for Surf, as he is going to go into Fortress, and Fortress is going to take the Surf very well. So I go for my Surf there, Surf doing 39%. But he will be able to recover here. As what I do here is I go for the Boom since I don't need Cloy anymore. So I boom the Cloy because pretty much Cloy was gonna drop after Spikes plus Poison. So I just said, you know what, I'm just gonna let him take Fortress, or I'm gonna just boom the Fori and just weaken it. So I did that. So Fortress is now dead. And now what that means is that gives me a free switch into Nidoking. So I do get to bring in Nidoking here as I can go for an Earthquake here and knock out the Fortress, or even Ice Beam here, but Quake is definitely free. So I go for my Quake here. He is going to sack the Fortress, which means he loses Spiker. So that's good for me. Now what you can do is bring in Starmie, and Starmie is not a Mon, like I said, I want to deal with. I only have one switch into it, which is Lax. So I have to go into it right now just to try and get some momentum going and keep it healthy. So, or at least, okay, no, I actually go Gar in case he spun there. And this was not a good play. The reason why it wasn't a good play was because, well, he could still surf, and surf is very free on me. And I mean, yeah, I could go lax on the surf and then double back in the Gar. Maybe that would have gotten me somewhere. But at this point, I do believe I did go for well, I know he surfs here. Or no, he subs here and then I have to go for Thunder. So what sucks is that Starmie's faster. Starmie being faster is very bad. Or I mean it's just very bad for my Gar. Because it will outspeed it and Surf will do a lot of damage to me. So he's gonna be able to surf me here as I go for a Thunder and hope I break the sub, which I do break the sub. But it's still not looking that good in my favor because now next turn that I bring in Gar and take spike damage, I will die to surf. So I have to be very, very careful with Gar at this point. And pretty much I have only one option. I have to go for Thunder again in case he surfs or in case he goes Tar. So he goes for sub again. I go for Thunder and I land mine, thankfully. So now what he can do is go into Tar as I go for Thunder again in case he went to sub again or recover, but goes for it. I get my Thunder off, but I get a Thunder and a para. I go for Suit and he kills me. So Gar dying is bad, especially this early on. Nidoking comes in now. And now what I can do is pressure this with Earthquake a little bit, but he has Skarmory. So I go for an Earthquake as he does go Skarmory and takes the hit very well. Or I mean avoids the hit. I go Zapdos now, revealing my last Mon. And then comes Lax. I go for Thunder and miss. So that Thunder miss is very huge. Goes for a Curse now. And now I'm kind of at the mercy of this Lax because a Lax will be able to get 2 curses off. And this Double Edge is going to be doing a lot of damage to me. And I do almost 40%. So that is a ton of damage. And I have to phase this Tar out, or phase out the Lax. Raikou comes in. What I can do is Earthquake as he can go into Starmie here. And now this is the play that really changed the course of this game. So here's what I'm thinking, right? Starmie can beat my Tar. It can very easily beat my Tar. Like, he can do 2 things. He can do 2 very easy things. He could surf here and let Starmie die, which he won't. Or he can recover here. Or he can just recover here. If he recovers, then I can at least force it out. And then maybe bring it in. And then maybe, weaken it later. But if he goes for surf, then, well, he dies. But then there's another option. He could also go for spin. Now, why would spin be an option here when he's basically taking a risk to let his Starmie die? Well, if he removes the spikes, then he still has better odds against me. But at the same time, he still has better odds against me, with those spikes being gone. But basically, he'll be able to keep his Starmie. So he gets 2 positive things here. He can remove spikes, and he can also keep his Starmie. But if he attacks, he dies. If he recovers, he gets phased out. So I'm going off the fact that he's probably going to recover because I feel like he'd want to keep Starmie still. So maybe he'd want to recover and keep this alive. Because what if I had Crunch and I just kill it? Then what does he do? Well, again, Spike being gone is still better for him. So what I do here is I'm thinking he's going to recover. So on turn 36, I go for Roar. But here's what he does. He spins. And he keeps his Starmie. So he literally got the best of both worlds right there. He spins and he keeps Starmie. So because of that unfortunate play on my end, he's going to keep his Starmie. He's going to be able to recover with it, and it's going to stay for the rest of the game. It's not dying anymore. So if I did get rid of Starmie on turn 36, then at least I wouldn't have to fear Surf from any other water type or from anything else on his team. That would have been a much more positive thing. But I was so fixated on him keeping Starmie alive that I let him keep Starmie alive. when I should have just, attacked it instead of actually thinking that, oh, he's going to recover. Like, I didn't really consider him spinning. I did not consider the spin at all. If I still had Gar, he probably wouldn't have spun, or he probably wouldn't have had the luxury of spinning. But because he got me on that one play there, it's going to change the whole dynamic of this game. It just changes the whole dynamic now. Because now I have to play catch up. Like, I have to play catch up, like, a lot. Because the mons that have had their lefties removed can still recover, and they don't have to fear chip damage anymore because both spikers are gone. But he has his spike, but he has my spikes, his spikes are still on my side of the field, and I can't remove them. So this is something to really take into account. That in a situation like, Starmie versus Tar, especially when Starmie is that low, I feel like they're just gonna be desperate and just remove whatever is in the way. But again, this is the way that Potate plays. He'll take advantage. I guess he'll just take advantage of any little thing I do. So, in hindsight, one, here's the other thing. Starmie's bulky as shit in this gen. It's very bulky. It lives every hit from Tar, every single hit from Tar. Slide does 34 to 40%. Suit does 30 to 35%. EQ does 34%, as you saw. As you saw on turn 35 on the Switch. So it really takes every hit and can just dish back with Surf. So in the long run, probably just hitting them on instead of making a prediction might have actually helped me a lot here, but I didn't do it, and Starmie's going to be alive for the rest of the game. So now let's focus on what happens and why this is going to turn out to be a longer game. Well, actually, Starmie being alive actually does enable it to be a longer game because, again, spikes aren't here anymore, and Starmie's alive. So this Starmie plus the rest of his team is going to extend this game to be a 200 turn game. And what I have to do now is play catch up. Is pretty much play catch up. So Reiku's in, Skarmory's in now on the switch. I go slide. Slide does some damage, but nothing crazy. I have to switch out and go into Zapdos, as I do go Zap on the Toxic, and he does land it as well. So he lands Toxic there. I can go for Thunder or even just Rest, but I go Nidoking in case he wants to go for something else. He goes Raikou there, so I get the Raikou on the switch. And now what I can do is go for a Lovely Kiss or Ice Beam. I do Ice Beam there. And now I can go for Lovely Kiss here, as it'll sleep the Lash or sleep this, but I miss anyway, and he gets to rest anyway. So him resting there over me getting my Lovely Kiss off definitely sucks because Skarmory's gonna be healthy, and that means he'll be able to get a lot more initiative off. I go for Earthquake in case he switches, but he never switched. He just stays in and goes for Toxic in case I switched. But I go Zapdos now on the switch, and he's gonna go for gonna waste a turn. I go Nidoking on the Raikou again, but he goes Lax instead. So now what I need to do is go for Lovely Kiss, and I do land it. So I land my Lovely Kiss there, and he is going to not go for Sleep Talk there. I go for an Earthquake to chip him down, and I'm hoping he stays asleep, but he doesn't stay asleep. He goes for Sleep Talk again. I go for Lovely Kiss, and I miss again, and he gets to rest again. So I'm getting very shitty Lovely Kiss rolls. Very, very bad Lovely Kiss rolls. I've missed 2 out of 5 so far, I think. No, actually, no, 3 out of 5. Because I missed the one on Lax, or I missed the one on Skarmory, and I missed this one. So that's definitely 3 out of 5 now that I missed. So I've had very bad Lovely Kiss lands. So I go Tar, as, again, I have to take the Spike, and he can just go for Curse here, and I have to phase him. So I phase him, wasting a Roar, so I phase him, wasting that Roar there. In comes Starmie. And now this Starmie is going to be getting back to full very easily, as you can see. It's already back to full after this Rock Slide, doing 36%. So he goes for a Recovery again, and I go for Earthquake, doing 33. So it's not really doing a whole lot. I could go for Slide again, but I'm not risking Surf, so I have to go back and Relax, as he can go for Recovery again, and just this Starmie's not dying anymore. It's just not. He has a Raikou that's worn down, but he can still bring it back. He has like he can still bring it back on my potential Zapdos, or again on my Tar, or even on my not on Nidoking, but definitely on my Tar. So he's gonna be able to rest off, or I mean he'll be able to wake up next turn. Bring in Zapdos now, as he'll wake up here, and he can go for a Toxic again. So he's only shown Toxic, Rest, and Sleep Talk. So I don't know what his last move is, but I'm assuming that his last move might be like some phasing move. But you're gonna see that around turn 60 or so, it's not a phasing move at all. Raikou comes in, I go for Thunder, hoping that I get a para, but now I just enabled this Raikou to recover here, and he's gonna be able to recover now. So I go Nidoking as he's gonna recover here on my switch, and now Raikou's back to full. So now things have gotten from bad to worse. Raikou's back to full, which means that Zapdos can't 1v1 it anymore. Or I mean, it couldn't 1v1 it in general, because Raikou is the natural counter to Zapdos. It's the best check to it in the gen. It really is just the best check to it. So Nidoking is in now, and again, pretty much all of his mons, or half his mons, already have like some sleeping move. They all have, like, most of them have rest now, so they all have rest sleep talk, which means that it's gonna be hard for me to really break any of these two without spikes down. So he can go Skarmory or even go Lax again. I go Ice Beam, and I have to try and sleep him again. I still will. Well, actually, no. I go in this Tar here, as he'll be able to wake up here and go for Curse or Double Edge. So he Double Edges, gets 17% on me. I have to phase him again as he goes Skarmory there. So I phase him, and it comes Tar, which is actually better for me because I could Earthquake it or even just Slide. So he is going to predict the Earthquake as I do go for it, and he catches me. So that was a good plan, his part, catching the Earthquake. I have to go into Zapdos here as he's going to go for the Toxic again. So he can make the Raikou play again as I go for Rest here. So I'm going to be able to remove my Toxic. Back in the Lax now, as I can, as I can force this out a little bit. He goes for Rest there, wasting a turn. I'm going to Skarmory as I go for a Curse. Now, this was a bad play. To be honest, I'm starting to realize that I don't think there's really a point in cursing if there's a Skarmory. Like, legitimately, if there's a Skarmory, I don't think I should really waste my Curse anymore. Like, especially because he's only shown 3 moves at this point, being Toxic, Curse, or being Toxic, Rest, and Sleep Talk. Nidoking effectively walls this thing, or can wall it, because it's only shown those 3 moves, and he hasn't shown and he hasn't shown that 4th move yet, which again, I don't know what it is yet. It could have been Drill Peck, it could still be a phasing move, but so far he's shown nothing on that Lax or on that Skarm. So I go for a Curse right now, as what he can do is I actually go into Zapdos here as he reveals Curse. So when I saw Curse, I was just like, what the hell is this? like I generally didn't, I've never seen Toxic, Rest, Sleep Talk, Curse Skarmory before in GSC. Again, like I said before, I'm used to seeing Curse, Drill Peck, Rest, and Whirlwind, or Curse, Drill Peck, Rest, Sleep Talk, or Curse, or again Whirlwind. Whirlwind is usually on Skarmory. So when I saw that, I was very confused. I had no idea what this thing was doing, besides just staying in here and just getting walled by Nidoking. So all I can really do at this moment is go into Nidoking, as I said, because Nidoking can effectively pressure him. Raikou comes in though, and Raikou can, I can go for Ice Beam here as Lax comes in here, and I'm trying to go for a Sleep Talk or go for the Lovely Kiss again, and I do land it this time. So now all I'm trying to hope for is that he doesn't get a Rest or a Double Edge, but he does get it, and that is going to be very huge. As for when I get some chip on him, but also he'll be able to, I'll be able to chip him down a little bit, and hopefully he doesn't get a Rest, but he gets Curse instead, which is even worse than that. So I have to go into Tar, as he'll be able to wake up again and, get to Sleep Talk. So again, he's been getting 2 rolls with Lovely Kiss, and I'm just like, why is it like this? Why is the game like this? I have to go Lax here on the Surf, as he'll be able to Surf me, Surf doing 20%. So again, with spikes down, and this Starmie doing so much damage with Surf, it's very hard for me to bring this Lax back. Skarmory's back. I go for a Curse, which was a waste of a turn. I bring in Zapdos as he goes for Toxic. So Raikou's back. Raikou's healthy. I waste a Sleep Talk here, and it comes Raikou to take Thunder, which is nothing. I go back into lax as he can just, you know, sleep talk here or waste a turn. So he wastes another turn, he'll be able to wake up next turn on the turn he comes back in. Go for curse, wasting another turn of curse. Tar comes in as I go for a curse again. And now I'm just trying to get the most amount of damage on the Tar. If I get like a good chunk of damage on Tar, I'll be in a good spot. So I go for it. I get 36% damage on it. Goes for Roar. In comes Nidoking. I could actually Earthquake this, or at least go for Sleep Talk, or go for Lovely Kiss again. But again, he has the lax there, so I go for Earthquake instead. Earthquake doing some damage there. But again, he will be able to wake up. So one more turn there. He goes for Lovely Kiss, or he goes for Sleep Talk, and he gets a rest there. So he's back to full. Re-rolling the rest. And I'm only at 8 Earthquakes left. So this is getting very I'm starting to get very desperate at this point, because if I could just wear down this lax still, then maybe I can still probably find a way to claw back through this game. So I get my Tar in, brings in Starmie as I go for a slide doing 36%, which is okay damage but nothing impressive. Back in the lax I go, as he'll be able to go for Surf or just, you know, recover. Gets a crit Surf, which is very bad. Very, very bad. I have to rest here, and he doesn't get it again, so I get to rest off and keep my lax healthy. So I keep lax healthy still. I do waste a couple more Surfs, but at the same time, it doesn't matter. Skarmory's back in. Go for a Sleep Talk, and I waste a Double Edge. Honestly, I really don't need to be wasting so many, like, sleep turns with lax, because what I should be doing at this point is trying to bring in Zapdos as much as I can. And then try and make some doubles with Nidoking if I can afford to. But again, it's tough. It's tough to make that at this point, as I'm, like, you know, re-looking at this game. So I waste a turn. I go for Curse, which is bad. Get his Toxic here, just go for Curse again. So what I do is, I believe I go into Zapdos now. Oh no, I just Curse again, which is not good. Again, I think I was trying to get that. So the reason why I cursed here, the reason why I'm doing it, is because I'm trying to get a crit. Like, I'm trying to get something, which, in all honesty, is really backfiring on me, because I waste a lot of curse here. Like, now I'm at 9 curses, and he has 14 curses, which means that his lax has a much better chance in sweeping me than I do against his. So I wasted a lot of curses there, but he's wasted a lot of Sleep Talk, so there's still a way for me to bring back lax still, but this Skarmory just 1v1s me straight up. So what I should be doing is going Nidoking instead, which will also force me to go back into lax, but still, like, it's just tough, man. I have to go for a crit. I don't get a crit or anything, and pretty much now I do think I switch here. Yeah, I do switch and go Zapdos now as he goes for Toxic. So what I do is I go Nidoking on the Raikou again, as he does go Raikou there. And now what he can do is go back into the lax as I go into Tar here, but he stays in. Goes for HP Water on my prediction, or just in case I stayed in. And yeah, so he has HP Water since that did a lot of damage to my Tar. And yeah, honestly, thinking about it, with my Nidoking versus Raikou, I only did it because I only made this play because I thought he'd make the switch back into lax, but he did catch me on that. So because he was able to do that, he's able to effectively deal with not only Nidoking but also Tar. So had I went for Earthquake, that probably died. That probably died at the range he was at. Granted, it's like pretty close, but no, it probably did die at the range he was at. So Raikou, HP Ice is 36 to 43%, which he was not. He was definitely HP Water. So with him being HP Water, granted, it's still like the same range anyway, but still, or I mean, it's the same percentage anyway, but he is a lot weaker to Earthquake. So Earthquake actually would have knocked him out at the range he was at. It was well, I mean, it's pretty good odds, but yeah, he would have had to HP Water me. Would have done a lot, but I would have lived it still, and I still would have kept this around for the Tar and even for the Skarmory. So in hindsight, I made the worst play possible by not staying in with Nidoking and just going for Earthquake. So that might have been a misplay there as well, not staying in. But again, I only did it in case he wanted to make the lax play. But again, he caught me, and because of that, he'll be able to pretty much take on my Tar. So I go for Earthquake as a last ditch effort. Earthquake does a lot, but it's not enough. I go into lax here, as he'll be able to go for HP Water again. And I'm trying to keep my Tar alive, maybe for his own Tar or even for the Skarmory. or even for the Lax as well to still keep phasing. So Tar's back. I have to go for a Thunder, and hopefully I land it. I do land it, but it is not going to kill the Tar, and he's going to be paralyzed, so I still have a way to bring this back. I can still go for Thunder, and if I land it, it's dead, but I don't land it, and he gets to rest off. So this rest is very bad. It's very bad because now I see that his whole team has rest, which means that his whole team effectively deals with Lax, because got his own Lax, he's got Skarmory, he's got Sleep Talk, he's got Rest Tar, which means he always rests up on Lax. Again, depending on the variant of Lax, though. But yeah, it's not really looking good for me here. It's not. Tar's gonna be back to full, which means that this is gonna be a much longer game than it had to be. So I go back to Nidoking. If I landed Thunder, right there, I probably say that right now, because after that Thunder Mist, this game is gonna go into over 100, or it's gonna go almost to 200 turns now. Well, granted, that was already enabled by Starmie, but with that Thunder Mist, it just makes it even more. It's just even more pronounced. So with that Thunder Mist, he'll be back to full, and all I can do is go Nidoking and just try to get something going. I go for Lovely Kiss, and I land it at least. But all I can hope for is Ice Beam, doing some damage. But you can also just, waste another Ice Beam and go back in the Lax. So I can go for an Earthquake, chip him down a little bit more, doing 28%. So it's still not bad damage, but nothing impressive. And he can just curse here too, so he gets his curse off. And I can't sleep him anymore because Skarmory's already slept. So I have to go Tar, and Tar is gonna die to Double Edge, and or he actually just goes for rest instead. So he rests there instead of Double Edging, which honestly surprised me. I didn't think he'd do it there, but goes for it again. He's trying to get it, but he doesn't get it. I go for the Roar there, and it comes Starmie. So this is bad still because he's gonna get momentum again. I have to go back in the Lax, so he can just go for Surf again, or Rest, or Recover, but he's just always going to keep surfing, because what does he lose by not surfing? So I go for Rest, keeping my Lax alive, go back into Zapdos. He goes for his, he wastes a turn, goes back into Tar. I go for Thunder, and I miss. So, I go back into Nidoking, as he's going to waste a turn here, because he has no Sleep Talk. I can Ice Beam again on the Lax, and yeah. So pretty much what's happening here is that Potate has secured his victory almost, because pretty much I'm in a deadlock against his with his Skarmory with my Lax. I can't be his Skarmory. And he can always switch into it very freely. I can't really pressure him with Zapdos anymore, because Zapdos or because the Raikou is already, it's going to be back to full soon. And also my ground types are getting worn down, or at least my Tar's getting worn down, so it can't really effectively deal with him that well. So, trying to phase this Lax again, as he is going to go for the Double Edge, and he gets a crit Double Edge on me. So that crit Double Edge is very unfortunate. Granted, I'll just show you the calc anyway against Tar. So Tar versus Lax. Double Edge is 15 to 18%. So I always lived it, barring the crit. So if he didn't get the crit there, then I probably would have been in a much better spot. And honestly, the way I should have hold on, go back. I should have actually went for Slide instead of going for the Roar there. Slide probably had better odds, and I also had a chance to flinch him too. So if I did that, maybe that would have changed something. But honestly, I had nothing else to go off of but going for phasing. So had to phase, and because of that, my Tar is dead. And now it's just 3 against 6, or 3 against 5 basically. And I'm pretty much getting frustrated now, because I'm just like, why is this game doing this to me? I go for Double Edge, doing no damage to the Skarm. Again, again, it's really, really difficult to bring this back, at all. Because he still has a Tar, which is slept, and, I keep missing Thunder, and he can just Slide. I have to go Nidoking, as he can just go for Slide freely, doing 16%. So I can Ice Beam again. He can go into Starmie. Honestly, if I get a Freeze, that's honestly what I wanted. A Freeze would have helped me a lot, because then this would have been effectively, dead. Great, it's not RBY, but you know what I mean. It would have just been, neutered. But yeah, Tar's gonna come in. I go for Sleep Talk. I get a Rest off, and it's just not looking good anymore, man. Slide doing 26% to me. I get a curse off, but he can just start phasing me with roar. So he phases me around with roar as I go for a double edge, hopefully trying to get one, but I don't get one. He can just phase me out again. So he phases me. I go Zapdos comes in. I go into Nidoking on the slide as he is going to slide and miss. So I get the miss there at least. So I'm getting something, but I'm going Zapdos in case he goes Starmie, which he does. So I catch Starmie there, but he can just, you know, sub or just go back into Tar. So he does go back into Tar. I go for Thunder again. No para there. You can just keep resting. So I go for Thunder and I miss. He can just rest again, and we're pretty much back to square one. So back in Nidoking, he can just rest again, wasting another turn. Back in Starmie, I'm trying to freeze him with Ice Beam. If I get a freeze, at least that's something. No freeze. Back into Lax I go, because that's my only water immunity, or water resist. So that's doing a lot of damage still. Trying to rest up again, as he can just go back into Tar, and it's just repeating the process. I go for double edge, doing something, but doesn't matter. Again, Tar just walls me, and so does the Scarm. So go back in Nidoking, as he'll be able to get slept again. Again, a freeze would definitely put me up right now. If I get a freeze on something, that would help. Ice Beam again, doing damage. He'll be able to wake up now, and I could Sleep Talk it again, or I could go for Lovely Kiss again, or I could just go back into Zap. So I go back into Zap, he goes back into Starmie, and then he could just go right back into Tar. I go for Thunder again, and I land it this time. So I get more damage still, but he can just keep resting. He's pretty much just going to try and stall out all my Thunders, which he's doing very well at that, because I only have 7 left now. So yeah, I go Nidoking. He stays in, wastes a turn again, and then back in Starmie. Gotta Ice Beam it, hopefully freeze it, don't get a freeze again. And it's just pretty much getting, just getting messed up by Starmie plus Tar and everything. So these two are also, problematic. So, get my rest up again. Go back in Nidoking, he can slide again, or just waste another turn. So he wastes another turn. Go for Ice Beam in case he goes Starmie, but he just stays in. I go for Slide, or he goes for Slide, does damage to me. He could go back in the Lax or go back in Starmie. Go for Ice Beam again, trying to get a freeze. I get a crit, but no freeze. So I have to go back in Lax, and he goes back Lax of his own as I go Lax here. And he can just, curse up again. Or go back in Tar. So I go for Double Edge. I get Double Edge roll from Sleep Talk. Does some damage, but nothing insane. I go for curse. I think I go for I get a curse off, but he can just slide or just phase. So he will keep phasing. Back in Nidoking, and I can still Earthquake, which I do. It does a lot to it. Goes for slide and misses. So now I have to go for Ice Beam again, or even Earthquake again. But I do believe I went for Thief. Okay, so I went for Thief because that at least did more damage to Starmie. But honestly, Quake was still better, especially because of the crit chances too. If I went for it. Recovers there, so now he's back to full, and now he can bring back the Tar. So what I do is I bring in Zapdos on the Tar switch, and now I'm trying to hope I get a Thunder off. If I get Thunder, then Tar can die. I do get Thunder, and I actually land Thunder and I kill it. The roll on that was actually pretty low. It was 39 or it was 37 to 44%, but he was around 44% ish. Because it's weird, but the percentage is kind of off sometimes on Showdown. So he was effectively 44%. So if I got the high roll, he died. And I did get the high roll, and he died there. But now, Reiku's back. And Reiku will be able to just recover. And it's just going to be a whole mess again. So, he can still stall me out very well. Go back in Lax. Back in Scarm. Go for Nidoking. Back in Lax. Try and sleep it. I land it. But he can just wake up again. Because for some reason, he always gets the turn 2 or turn 1 wake. So I go Zapdos here, and he does wake up again. Goes back in Reiku. Go for Thunder, wasting another Thunder. So I have 5 more Thunders left. Back in Nidoking, as he'll be able to go for Sleep Talk, and he gets an HP Water. And I'm pretty much just saying fuck it at this point, because no way I can win against, I lost my way to hit Reiku, and Skarmory just walls me forever. So I pretty much just say GG at this point. Well, actually, I don't say GG. I just say fuck this game soon. So back in Scarm, go for Double Edge, go for Toxic. Now at this point, I'm trying to go for I'm really trying to get my own hacks now. Like if I get the reroll with Curse, because basically what happens is that there's this 1 to 99. Like if Skarmory maxes out its defense, then there's a chance for double edge for the curse to reroll, and that means that double edge would effectively go down from like 1 to 99% or to 99 or 999. So if I did get that roll, then I had a chance to bring it back, or then I had a chance to actually beat Skarmory and then just beat everything here. So I was trying to go off that at that point, but my opponent is gonna be able to, effectively see that through. So I have to try again because I only have this left. So goes for that, goes for Sleep Talk, gets another rest. Pretty much just stalls me out now. I'm trying to hope that maybe he does go max defense, but he's not going max defense. I go for double edge, rest there. He's just gonna keep wasting turns. There's another turn. He goes for curse now. Again, he had to go max defense, but he's not gonna do it. He doesn't have to do it, so just keep stalling me out. Go for double edge again. I have now 12 double edges left, and he has enough rest to keep doing this and enough sleep talks to keep doing it. So I'm just hoping he gets a reroll. I go for curse. Not like it really matters since my attack is already maxed out. So I just keep doing it. He keeps stalling me out. Just keeps cursing. He gets the well, no, he did get the max defense, but it's still not enough. Still not enough for me to actually beat it. So I'm trying to get that roll. I go for double edge. I get 22%. He wakes up there. He goes for rest again. Again doing 22%, doing 20%, and then doing 23. I actually did get a crit at some point, but I think it was like turn. I think actually no, that was the crit. The crit was right there on turn 186. So I get the crit there. But no reroll that I wanted. He gets toxic on the sleep talk. Go for double edge again, doing 23%, and he can just keep resting. Getting a reroll with rest, and yeah, I'm pretty much just saying it's over at this point. I can't beat the Skarmory anymore. Just say stupid ass game and just dip. So honestly, it was a dumb game. It was a dumb game. I literally had no way around this without Starmie dying. Like, I'd probably say that Starmie was the enabler for his team. I would definitely say that. I think Starmie is it seems like a very annoying mon to deal with on stall. Cause if it's alive, it just adds a lot of defensive pressure. Cause again, what mon does he have that can take Ice Beam if Starmie died? If Starmie died, Ice Beam was effectively free on everything and also did relatively good damage. So if Starmie was dead, then Ice Beam would be a little bit more effective. Earthquake would be a little bit more effective as well. Tar would have been pretty effective as well against his team. But yeah, basically these four right here had a chance to beat this without Starmie here. But again, it's on me and the way I played against Starmie with the Tar. Again, I don't know matchups very well in GSC yet. There's always new stuff to find out in GSC. So seeing Starmie was just one of the new things, or just one of the things I never expected. Again, I don't know what Starmie really does, except after this, after playing this game, now I have an idea of what it does. Basically, it acts as not only a spinner but also a defensive pivot. Since it can take everything else, since it can take Ice Beam, can take on Tar, and just 1v1s it, can take on. Yeah, pretty much just takes on everything on my team. So Starmie really was the mon that stopped everything from doing, or that stopped me in general. So if it died, this would have been a little bit easier on me. But again, I didn't take it into account, and because of that, or because I didn't attack what was in front of me, the Starmie lived through the whole game. So yeah, but going back to that turn 36, that was just a hard play. It really was a hard play. It was a hard play for me. Maybe if I quaked it died, but he still would have got his hazards removed anyway, and it still would have been rough on me regardless. But still, this is just not, this was just tough, man. It really was just tough. It really was just a tough matchup. It's not easy to play. It just wasn't easy to play around. So I don't know what I could have done, or I know I should have attacked the Starmie. If I attacked it, then it died, and that would have been that. And then Needle King had an easier time. Tar had an easier time. Zapdos had an easier time too. All those things would have been much appreciated, but again, I was too afraid of him going for recover, which is why I wanted to phase him in case he did recover, and then that would have. I mean, he still would have been able to He still would have been able to find a way to bring it back. Still, had he recovered, but the spin was very, very effective, and because of that, he will win the game from that turn. Like turn 36, it pretty much went, like after turn 36, it went downhill from that point. So yeah, that is that. So my opponent won for week 4 of PPL for his team. Again, I'm disappointed in how I played for this game. I didn't play very well, and I let him get everything he needed. I also got very bad Lovely Kiss rolls too. Again, he woke up like the turn after, and he always got like the rest like the turn after as well. So yeah, it's just tough. It's just tough. I don't know what I could have done differently here. Yeah, I just don't know what I could have done differently. I think what's important is knowing the matchup. I think that's really what's important. Like knowing the matchup and just how to play around it. Like I don't know what matches up against Starmie on my team. Like the only mon I thought that could actually do it was Lax. And Lax does it. It can take Surf, but that doesn't mean it can stop everything else on the team. Again, he has 3 mons that stop Lax. This, and this. That's how Stall works. Stall has ways that stop Lax from doing what it does. So he was able to do it well, and because he did it well, he won. So that's that. He really didn't do anything this game besides just sit there and rest, sleep, talk me. Really, that's really all he did. He just sat there, rest, slept, talk, and surfed when he needed to. So it is what it is, man. It is what it is. All I can say is that this was a disappointing game. And I didn't really, like, contribute much for the team after this game. So this is where it goes downhill from here. So yeah. I guess now that it's over, I guess I'll say GG to Potate. He played very well. He played very well too. Again, Starmie play was great. Worked out for him. And yeah, it's that. So I don't know how long I've been recording. It's probably been an hour. It's been an hour pretty much. So I'll go into game 2, where I played against Oibaf. So this game right here was also frustrating. I played Oibaf before for GSC Open, and he was actually, when I played in that tour on Pokemon Perfect, I believe that this was I believe that that I actually played him for the semifinals of the tour. Or I think it was like I think it was almost semifinals when I played him. But I had an idea of how Oibaf played, like kind of. I felt like he was more of an offensive player, but he can also use Stall very well. So I had a feeling that I was gonna be fighting another Stall matchup. I looked at his replays, and I noticed that a lot of his teams have like this Raikou Zapdos core. So I thought that, hey, why don't I just run Double Steel, which can deal, or Double Ground, which can deal with both of those, which can deal with both of those two. It can definitely deal with Zapdos. It can deal with Raikou as well. So I wanted to go off that, and I wanted to use Rhydon and Steelix for this game. So anyways, let's dive in and let's see what I did wrong. So hold on, wait a minute. Let me turn off the music. So Raikou versus Zapdos, right? Reiku versus Zapdos doesn't mean a lot. It just means he's gonna switch because he doesn't want to take double edge. So he'll go into something that can take double edge, and it could be like a Skarm, it could be a Tar, it could be Golem, it could be anything that could take on double edge. So what he's gonna do is he's actually gonna go Skarmory there. So he goes Skarmory, double edge does a little bit of damage. So does some damage there. He could Toxic me or Curse or whatnot. I go Zapdos. He goes for Whirlwind. So he's gonna phase me out and bring in Gar. Gar being in here isn't exactly a bad thing because I can thief whatever comes in. So I am gonna actually not go. I can go Claw in case he goes Tar, which I did anyway. I went for that because I thought he would go Tar because when I looked at his replays before this game, and I noticed that he likes to run Tar with Surf, which is meant to be a way to help against the matchup against Golem, and even against like well, pretty much helps very well against Golem. So yeah. So yeah, Reiku's in here, so he makes a good play to make the double into Reiku. Now this Gar, I believe, didn't have Thief. So let me go back to that team real quick when I played him. I don't think it had Thief. I know it did. It did have Thief, but I didn't go for it. Again, the only reason why I didn't go for it was because I was fearing Tar. But to be honest, I think Thief was still better regardless if Tar did come in, because then I'd be able to still chip it with Thunder, and it would have been in a better spot. Well, actually, this version of the team, when I played him, did not have Thunder Gar. It actually had Thunderbolt Gar, which you're going to see is actually going to be in my, not going to be in my favor. So I go Lax here, and I go back into Cloyes. He goes for Spike there. So he spikes there on my switch. Get my Spike down. He goes for Tauntzic. Go for a Surf there, getting 36% on that 4E. Goes for Giga Drain. So, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but Fortress runs Giga Drain as a way to deal with spinners, and also as a way to deal with, like, Golem and Cloyster, which are, like, usually spinners anyway, especially Golem. So Fortress actually can 1v1 Golem in that case because of Giga Drain, and it can kind of chip down Cloyster by a lot, especially with the Tauntzic down. So overall, Oibaf is in a much better position than I am, which is bad for me because he'll be able to recover here, and I have to pretty much switch out and not take Giga Drain. So I go Gar here as he's going to go for the spin. So I block his spin. Now what he can do is go into Tar if he has it, but he's not going to go Tar, which I really thought was weird. So I'm going to Thief his Reiku, take his lefties away, and now what I can do is go right into Steelix here. So I go Steelix as he's going to go for a Thunderbolt there. So he goes for Thunderbolt. What I can do now is go for a phasing move, as I am going to phase him on the Skarmory. So Skarmory comes in, and Starmie is going to be his Mon. So, as you can see, his team is starting to look kind of similar to what Potate brought last week against me, where he brought that same stall core. But the only difference now is that Oibaf actually has Whirlwind on his Skarmory over the Toxic Curse set that Potate had. So looking at the calc, right? Let me just show you the calc. Normally, to be honest, Steelix does not want to stand on Starmie because Surf does way too much damage to it. So, in my team, again, similar issues to the last team, I don't have a good water answer to Starmie. So I have to go into Snorlax here, or even Zap, actually. So he goes for the spin, which I thought was weird. So he does have double spin, which I thought was very, very weird. So with him running double spin, he's able to remove spikes, and now he has all the momentum again. Because Cloyster's poisoned, and poison plus the spikes are gonna hurt me a lot. And he can still spin as well with both these two. So it's just, I pretty much didn't get anything accomplished here. So all I can do now is probably go for Thunder on the Reiku, but Reiku can just sleep it off. So I actually go Lax instead on the Reiku. But I can go back into Skarm or go back into Fori. Go Slax there. I go for Cloy now and try and get my spike down. So I am able to get my spike down here, as he will be able to go into the Starmie. So I get my spike. Surf won't kill me, but I can try and go for a Toxic. But I go Gar instead in case he booms or in case he spun. He did spin there, so I caught him at least on that. But now I have to hope he's not Psychic or anything, so I go for Thunder on the... No, I go for Thunderbolt, yeah. I had Thunderbolt on Gar. Now, honestly, Thunderbolt is not good on Gar unless it's like... unless it's gonna be, well, no, honestly, it's not that good. Thunderbolt's not that good. Thunder's definitely better because you want to be able to hit Reiko as hard as possible, or hit Zapdos and hit like Lax as hard as possible, hitting Starmie as hard as possible, because Thunderbolt is not gonna do a lot to Starmie. I'll show you the calc right now. Actually, I'll show you the calc with Thunderbolt as well. Thunderbolt does 14 to 17%, so it's not bad damage on Lax, but it's not great damage either. Now, let me show you how much this does to Starmie with Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt does 56 to 66%, so it is not like it's a 2 KO, but they can also just Psychic back, and spikes, you know, are there, but what's it called? He hasn't taken damage yet with Starmie. So I have to switch out here because I'm not trying to let Gar die. I need Gar for the spinner. So I have to go with Steelix here, as he's gonna go for Tar. So Tar's in here. Again, he reveals the last Mon. So this is basically a carbon copy of the last team, except, or again, the team with Potate, except he has double spin and he has phasing. So this makes things very complicated now. Very, very complicated. So what I have to do here is I actually go Zapdos as he goes for Roar, which I really didn't understand why he roared there. Like, why would he want to roar? But I made that play. I made the play into Zapdos because I was fearing the Surf. Because again, he's known for running Surf a lot. So if he did go for Surf on my Licks, then that would have meant that, oh, my team's gonna get worn down by Reiko a lot faster. I can't do that. I need to go into Steelix, or I need to go into Zapdos and scout for the Surf. But again, he went for Roar, and that didn't really tell me a whole lot on what kind of Tar he was. So what I'm gonna do is, I believe I actually stayed in, or I went back into no, I actually did switch. Oh no, I did stay in and go for Quake. So I go for the Quake. What I can do is just face this out again. So I go for, actually no, I curse first, as he's going to go for a Whirlwind. So that didn't work out for me. Zapdos is in. He brings in Raikou as I go for a Thunderbolt, doing no damage. So I have to go back into Steelix, as he's going to go for the rest there. So you rest there. What I can do is go for a phase, or even just curse. But I do believe I just phased it. No, I cursed, so that was bad, because now Starmie's going to be able to spin, or even just Surf. And Surf after Spikes is definitely going to hurt my my thing. He goes for the Surf there on my Gar switch, or on my potential Gar. So he goes for spin. I'm hoping that Thunderbolt can kill, but as you see, Thunderbolt does not kill. And I did have Thunderbolt on Zapdos, which is horrible. You should never run Thunderbolt on Zapdos unless you're running Whirlwind Zapdos, which I believe this one was. No, actually, no, this one wasn't Whirlwind Zapdos. So let me show you the calc. You're going to be very sad by this calc. Zapdos has to run Thunder on the Sleep Talk set, because it needs to do the most amount of damage to Gar, or the most amount of damage to everything in the meta. Now with Thunderbolt does not kill. It never kills Starmie. It never kills Starmie at all. It just doesn't. It just doesn't kill Starmie. Like, Starmie, when Starmie came in, hold on. When Starmie came in, it took spikes, but then it would be at 74%. So, looking back at it, I actually think that was a roll. Well, no, he recovered. Well, no, he pretty much got the full there on the switch. So, no, I was never killing it unless I had Thunder. If I had Thunder, this would have died. But just like last game, the Starmie will live, and he can just go right into Raikou again, and I have to play catch up one more time. So back in Cloy, trying to get my spike down again if I can afford to. But he goes right back into Skarmory as I go for my spike there. So now he can try to spin, but I go for Surf there for the most amount of damage, and pretty much just let the Cloy go. So Rhydon comes in, which is horrible. Rhydon coming in is the worst thing that could have happened here, because he's going to effectively be able to curse out, or to curse up and then phase me out or whatnot. But Rhydon, honestly, looking at the matchup right now, looks very strong. The only problem is the Fortress. The Fortress is a big issue, but as long as I have Gar still healthy, I can still pressure his own Fori. And we still don't know what kind of Tar he is yet, so it's still tough for me to really deduce if Gar is still going to be effective here, but it's still relatively strong. It's just the fact that I don't know what kind of Tar it is yet. before I can actually use guard to the fullest. So again, Rhydon versus Skarmory. This is not a mon I want to see. I have to switch in case he has like. Actually, no. Okay, so never mind. I don't switch. I go into Zapdos actually. So never mind. I do go Zap. And now what I do here is I go Gar in case he spins, which he really wants to do, because if he spins, then that means that Starmie's going to be alive, and that also means, you know, a lot more positive things. Goes back into Tar. I can Thunderbolt here for some damage, but it's not going to do a whole lot, and he can also go back into Raikou and just waste a turn. I go back into Steelix in case he does go Raikou, but he goes for Roar again, and I'm so confused why he keeps going for Roar. It's so irritating why he just keeps doing it, but he keeps doing it. So I have to go into Zapdos as he brings in Fori. I go for the Earthquake. It does some damage, but still not a lot. Now what I do is go into Gar in case he spins again, and he is going to go for the Giga Drain instead, which again I'm fine with. Don't mind that too much. Now what I do is I go for the I go Rhydon here, which is not the. Well, actually no, that's a fine play because I think I was predicting Tar again, which is why I made that play. So what I do is go for the Earthquake again, because it doesn't seem like the Tar has anything going on. But I go Zapdos again instead, as I can still pressure him regardless. So Raikou comes back. I go for Thunderbolt here as he switches in to take the Thunderbolt very well. I can go back into Steelix or even go back into Rhydon, so I go back into Steelix here, as he's going to try and get a Sleep Talk off and get an HP Ice or whatever it is. And this HP Ice, and he does get the roll. So now what I can do is go for the Phase here, but I actually Quake first. So I Quake instead first. Steelix can deal with Skarmory, so I can just phase this out. So I do phase it, and now it's Tar again. And now what I do here is I believe I go for Earthquake now. Or I phase again. No, I Curse here and then I phase. Because with Starmie or with Steelix being, you know, +1 and being able to phase around, it's going to be able to effectively Earthquake things down. But then Starmie comes in. So Starmie coming in here is, or being dragged in here is not good for me. The reason why it's not good is because he'll be able to get his recovery back, and also it means that my Steelix has to die to Surf. Because, again, this thing is so stupid to deal with. Surf will kill me. It kills me at the range I'm at right now. So I can't stay in here, and I can't go for, and I can't really Earthquake. Even though it probably is the best option now, but the roll is just so not in my favor that I have to switch out. And the thing is that he can take advantage of that and just go for a spin if he wants to, or even Surf on my Gengar. So what I do here is I actually sack Cloyster here. Oh no, I go Gar instead in case he spun, but he surfed, like I said. So him surfing is bad because now he gets some initiative going. Have to go Zapdos, goes for a Surf there, gets a crit. Now what I have to do, now this thing is back to full, which is still really bad. Lax is back. I go for Thunderbolt, doing 23%, so it's still not bad, but it's not great either. Back in Steelix, as he'll go for the Curse there, so he will Curse up. What I can do is still phase this around, keeping it low, but he has Earthquake, so he has Earthquake Double Edge, which is really, really bad, and Skarmory's back in, which is definitely still better for me. I can Curse here or even just phase, but he goes for Drill Peck there, as I am going to just phase him out. So back in Lax he goes, and now it's kind of like I have to force myself to boom, but if I do boom, then again then Raikou becomes an issue. A lot of things just become issues. Like, Cloyster is basically dead at this point. Steelix is already worn down. It's just tough, man. It's just a tough spot to be in at the moment. Right now, because he's already got so much momentum going with the again, the phasing from Tar and the phasing from Skarmory, and just getting all these like good rolls in, or these good phases in for himself. So now what I'm kind of forced to do is that I'm forced to either go for boom or just Quake, or even phase. Goes for Skarmory. I actually go for the Curse here, so I'm able to Curse up, and I can phase again. So I can phase again. If he doesn't get Starmie, I can actually get some momentum going. Goes for you there. Now what I can do is go back into Gar in case he goes for it again, but he spins. He spins. And this is where I fucked up. He spun again. So when he spun there, I got very frustrated because I was just like, why? Like, I was literally just like, why? He's seen Gar so many times, but he still commits to spinning. So I'm just like, why? So now I can't get spikes down anymore because Cloyster's dead. Spikes will stay down on my side for the whole game, and Gar is just kind of useless now. Because I still don't know what Tari is yet, and yeah, it's just bad now. It's just honestly bad now. So again, it just really sucks. So Fortress is gonna be around still. I just boom, and yeah, that didn't work. So I got frustrated and just boom there. I go Zapdos. I can Thunderbolt, but it's not gonna do anything. So he just goes Raikou again. I think I actually took a long time on that play too. But no, I got hesitant on that play. And I got very hesitant, so he caught me on that because time was going down for me. I was like 25 seconds down to 30. So the spin really hurt me. If I had went Gar, it might have helped a little bit. Or I mean, it definitely helped a lot because then I would have avoided, all this. But I can't really do that now. And because of that, he's going to take advantage of that and just be able to, sleep talk, rest, or whatnot. So I have to go Lax here. The Skarmory is still low. So if I can still get like a curse roll, maybe I can get out of this. But I go Gar, which is bad. And I think I just boomed here because I'm pretty much just done. I boom. There's no damage. And he shows nothing because boom takes your turn away. So Rhydon's in. He doesn't show anything. I go for Curse, which is horrible. I should just Earthquake there instead. And now Fori can just go for Giga Drain here. So he Giga Drains, and I'm just really frustrated now. I Earthquake. I don't even kill Fori, and yeah. I go back in Zap. He goes Giga again, and Raikou's back. So Raikou back again. I go for Thunderbolt one more time. But Raikou just always walls me. So can rest up one more time. They're avoiding crits, avoiding everything. Go for HP Ice, doing no damage. And now it's just pretty much just, Zap, Tar, and or Zap, Lax, and Rhydon at this point. Which Rhydon still can make a comeback, but not well. Not very well, but it's possible still. It definitely is possible. So yeah, I go Zapdos here, but he will be able to go for whatever this Tar has, or just go back into Raikou. So back in Raikou, Thunderbolt doing nothing. So he Thunderbolts again, doing no damage to me, or doing no damage. Thunderbolt's back on me. I go for HP Ice, doing something. He just stays in again. Goes for HP Ice, gets a roll, or gets a pretty good roll there. I HP Ice back. I get a crit, but that crit's not gonna matter because I'll rest up again. Just waste more turns. So I rest up back on my. I rest up with my own Zapdos again, and now what I have to do is just stay in and just keep HP Icing. At this point, just try and like waste some PP if I can. So he's got 10 left. He's got 10 left. In comes Lax. I go back and Lax my own. And what I do here is I believe I go for Double Edge again. But yeah, Skarmory takes the hit very well. I can just rest up, and we're pretty much back to square one, where he just rests up here, and it's back to Raikou and Skarm and rest again. So back in Lax of his own, and he still has the advantage still. Before he comes in, I go for Curse, which is bad because I don't get anything out of it. I mean, I can still like Double Edge him still, but that's it. Goes for Toxic. Go for Double Edge. I get a decent chunk of damage on it, but it doesn't matter too much. So I do believe I go for the rest here. Yeah, I go for rest here. And I go Zapdos now, as he can just stay in here and just waste a turn. I go back and Rhydon on the off chance he goes into Raikou, which he does. So now I'm trying to hope that he doesn't get HPS or anything. I go for Curse now, and now what I can do is just start phasing this around. So I can phase out the Skarmory, maybe try and get something. Actually, no, I Curse again, which is still fine, because he wastes a turn there, and now I can just start phasing. So he goes for Whirlwind, and I just phase him, and I phase him out again, and brings in Lax. I can actually Earthquake here, and if I can get the damage off, that'll kill. And Fori dies, so he sacks Fori. So finally something dies on the side of the field, but Starmie comes in and can just surf something. So I have to go back and Lax or Cloy, so I sack Cloy there. And now what he can do, or now I can go Zapdos here, is he can just still recover and, you know, be healthy. Lax is back, go back and ride on there on the Lax play. And now what I can do is just Earthquake again, or Curse. So I Curse here first. Quake might have been better still, because Quake is going to do a lot to me even after +1. So I can still Quake back, but he'll be faster than me. So he gets a crit, and I just say fuck this game. And yeah, just dip after that. So I got very frustrated playing him. I got very, very frustrated playing against him because I let him have too many openings. There were a lot of openings that Oibaf got out of me. It was the Fori with the double. It was the double spinning, the Tar, whatever it was, just phasing, and the Raikou just walling my Zapdos. And the fact I wasn't Thunder on Gar or even Thunder on Zapdos really just ended everything for this game. Or really just ended a lot of stuff for this game. If I was Thunder Zap or Thunder Gar, maybe this would have been a little bit different. This might have been better for me, but you know what? I didn't get a lot of initiative going, or I didn't get a lot of momentum going, and yeah, again, he caught me a lot. Curse EQ double edge Lax was something that I didn't think would, you know, be on a stall team. I thought he'd be like, you know, Curse double edge Sleep Talk, or maybe like Flame Lax or something, but but no, that's not the case. The double spin was also kind of a turnoff. And the Tar, I don't know what that Tar was doing at all. Like, it was just there the whole time. Like, it just didn't do anything but roar. So I don't know what kind of Tar he was. I don't think it was even Suit Tar, to be honest. I honestly don't think it was Suit Tar. It might have been like maybe Rock Slide EQ Tar, or something. But he didn't even show Surf, which he's known for using. So I didn't know what to expect from that Tar or what it was doing. But yeah, again, I made a lot of misplays here. I let him have too many openings with Fori and Starmie, and that pretty much just, you know, allowed him to sweep me, effectively. So yeah, didn't get a lot of good rolls with phasing either, and yeah, I just gave up. Again, I messed up really bad by going for the Earthquake on the Fori. On what turn was that? I think that was like, well no, going for Earthquake on Fori was fine. It's just the fact that he spun. Still, it's the fact that he spun. If he didn't spin, what turn was that? That was turn. Not turn 26. Again, that was a very close one too. Again, if I thundered it, it died, but didn't have thunder. So Surfs phases me out, brings in right on turn 29, and then spin block the Gar, or spin block the Fori, back in Zap on Tar, then roar on the or then he roared me, bringing in Rhydon, and then Fori on Rhydon, then Giga Drain from the then Giga Drain on the Gar, then Raikou, Thunderbolt, Skarm, then Tar, yeah, then Steelix, and then phasing again, and then Starmie got brought in. Then I go Gar on the Surf, then Zap Gar, then he Surf crits me, then Lax, then Curse again with Lax, then he brings in or he curses with his Lax, and then I go Steelix and phase him as he quakes me, Dropex me as I go for Roar, then phase again, as he switches Lax and Skarm, then curse up, then phase again on this Whirlwind, then phase, and then this play when he went for spin on my Earthquake. Honestly, I think Gar is always a play on Fori, no matter what it does. Like, even if the Tar is there, especially on that turn on turn 52, even with the Tar being like, even with that Tar, yeah, like the Tar was 88%. So yeah, this was just bad. This was just a bad play, but I didn't think he'd commit with Earthquake, or commit with spin, but he did. So honestly, Gar really was the better play here. Because again, the damage can still go a long way against him, and yeah, I'd want to say that if I went Gar, I might have been in a winning position. Actually, I think I was in the winning position if I did go Gar, because he would have been forced to go Tar, and he would have revealed whatever moveset that Tar was. And Thunderbolt's still like relatively free against him too, so Gar really was important, but I didn't see it, or I saw it too late. Because I saw it too late, he wins the game. So yeah, again, there's just stuff I don't know about GSC that I thought I knew when I got into this league, or into this team tour, but I guess I don't know enough. When I signed up for PPL, again, I signed up for RBY, GSC, and ADV. So I thought I could play well in all three of them. And well, I still think I could have, but it's just unfortunate how my games went, especially up to this point. So yeah, at this point, I pretty much just had like low morale. I just pretty much got angry and just said, fuck this game. It's so dumb because he spun on my Steelix, and he got rewarded for it. So yeah, again, I really need to take my time with GSC again, because if I don't take my time with GSC, I'm gonna make plays like this where I don't think about what's actually going on in the moment. Like, I thought Earthquake was the play to make because it's good damage, but thinking about it, thinking on it, right? Like, yeah, it's good damage, but what happens after that? I think it's kind of just knowing the next turn with GSC. Like, if you can figure out the next turn, then you might be in an okay spot. So I should have thought like maybe a turn ahead on Earthquaking. Like, if I did Earthquake, well, granted, I am like down by 30 seconds. So if I did think a little bit longer, then he would have won, because I have to think about what's actually happening here, because again, it was hard for me to keep up with him running double spin, and it just got very irritating. So yeah, it's just a tough game, man. Really just a tough game to play. But I do think that this game could have been a lot closer had I just made the guard play and just spun on what I needed to spin on, and that would have been fine. But it is what it is, man. It is what it is. And if I had Thunder on Gar and Zapdos at the time, it might have changed some things. But yeah, I do think that recognizing what's going on in the game is probably important. I think I'm starting to learn that with stall, the most important, having a spinner is probably the most important thing you need to have on a team, because without a spinner, your team just gets thrown down by spikes, and then what do you do against that? You just get messed up by your opponent's attacks. Last becomes more dangerous with double edging, or with it attacking with spikes down, and you just have no way to spin. So that's why spin is important on stall teams, because you want to have a way to remove those hazards so you don't lose to lax, or lose to anything that takes advantage of the spikes, like Zapdos, for example, which Zapdos really would have taken advantage of all these spikes down, because Zapdos was very strong for that Thunder. It was very strong here for that Thunder, but ran Thunderbolt instead, and that didn't work out. So yeah, again, this was just an unfortunate game. Very unfortunate game. I'm gonna say this now. I think the only reason you'd run Thunderbolt is only on Whirlwind Zapdos, because with Whirlwind Zapdos you can at least get phasing going. Well, with Thunder, Thunder, at least, I'm not gonna say the damage is consistent, because it's not consistent, but at least the damage is good enough to where you don't have to keep phasing around just to get more momentum going. And also, Whirlwind Zapdos runs T-Wave as well for more offensive teams. So I think when I made this, I did make it Whirlwind Zapdos, but yeah, I think I did make it Whirlwind Zapdos, but Whirlwind Zapdos gets folded by Starmie, gets folded by Raikou. It's just not good here. It's just not good against a stall team like this. So So yeah, I guess that's really that. The best thing I can probably say about this game is that I should have preserved Gar better, and I should have played Steelix better. That's all I can say. Like, I should have played both those mons better, and this would have been much easier. Or this could have been prevented. This could have easily been prevented, but again, I didn't do that, and we lost. So we lose to Oibat for week 5. So now at this point, my morale is pretty much like done. I'm just shot at this point because we're just like, what's the point of playing this tier or playing this league anymore if I'm going to keep losing all my games? So I pretty much just say screw it and just not really care about the last 2 weeks. So game number 6, we have against Luck versus Skill, or Luck over Skill, and well, you're gonna see his name actually lives up to that. So let's play the game and see what happens. So let's turn off the music too. How long have I been recording? An hour and 30 minutes. Okay, so all right, we got Jinx versus Zapdos. Now Jinx versus Zapdos is not a good thing at all. It's actually terrible because, I mean, let me just show you the calc anyway. Jinx versus Zapdos. Jinx versus Zapdos. Ice Beam does 63 to 75%, while Thunder does 46 to 55%. So I'm going off the odds of Ice Beam not killing me, and also Thunder landing, and the chance of Thunder actually paralyzing it. Also the team I used for this week, I think I was using Machamp. I said Machamp offense, but yeah, I don't want to deal with Jinx because I'm not trying to get frozen. I'm not trying to deal with like Lovely Kiss or anything. So what I do is I make the play to, actually no, I'd still Thunder anyway, so I'd still Thunder, but he gets a crit Ice Beam, and that's when I just say fuck the game. That's really when I just say fuck the game, because that crit changed the whole game. Literally changed the whole game. So he goes Lovely Kiss. Hopefully I wake up and get an attack off, maybe a double edge. Nope, gets a curse instead. So I'm trying to double edge something, maybe get some momentum going. He goes Gar instead, so Gar comes in. Hopefully I get a double edge or whatever. Actually, I think this was actually this was Monolax. So Gar comes in, ice punches me. I can go for something else back. He goes for Thunder. He gets a para, and he gets a full para. Well, as you can see, you know where this game's going. In comes Lax. I go Tar, as I bring in Cloy, as he goes for Earthquake. I go for a Spike down, or I go for a Spike now, and brings in Cloy of his own. Get my Spike here. I can go for a Toxic and wear down his Cloy as he goes for Spike, and I land Toxic actually, so I actually get some luck of my own. I can Surf this as he misses his Toxic. So I get my Surf off, I do some damage to it. I can keep going for Surf here. Get to keep wearing this down. But I actually go Lax here instead. Now going Lax wasn't that good. I mean, yeah, it's good that I avoid the Toxic and everything and Surf, but like he could boom, and that's not that good. Goes Golem here as I go into Gengar, and that's not good because he can, spin. I mean, he could spin still anyway, or just Quake. But I go Cloy here, as he's going to go for the Earthquake there. So he Earthquakes, I can Surf him down a little bit, keep him low. He has to go Gar or go Zap, as he does go Zap there. So Zap takes some damage with Surf. Zap takes damage with Surf. I go Lax there, as he's going to go for the Whirlwind. So he has Whirlwind Zap, which means that this team is offensive. In comes Machamp, which is the mon I didn't want them to see. I have to go Lax here, as he can just phase me again, or just Thunderbolt. So he does Thunderbolt there, and yeah, so I'm trying to get a rest off maybe. If I get a Sleep Talk off, then I can at least bring Lax back, but I get Double Edge instead, which is worse. So now we could use just go for Spin or Earthquake still. So I go Cloy here in case he does either of those, and he does go for Earthquake, doing 27%, which isn't that bad, but Surf doesn't really matter too much. Actually, I still go for the Surf anyway. I go for Toxic. I think I'm a Toxic in case he went into the Zapdos. So Toxic works, but like it's okay. Tar comes in. I actually catch the Psychic, which is good. I can suit this, knock him out, or even just slide. Goes for Ice Beam. No freeze. He doesn't freeze me, and I get to go for Suit, and Suit is gonna kill it with a crit. So crit kills it right there. In comes Golem, and now what I can do is go into Cloy, as again he could either Earthquake or go for Spin. He doesn't go for either of those. He still goes for Earthquake. And now he goes back into Zapdos, as I can go for the Surf here on the switch. So again, we're getting damage on it, but this golem is starting to become a problem soon. So I go Zapdos, he goes for I go Laxus, he goes for Zapdos and Thunderbolts me. Now I'm really hoping I get a rest off. If I get a rest, I can at least bring back Lax. But instead, what I get, Double Edge, worst move possible. Tar comes in as I go for Slide. Slide kills it, but now at this point I'm just like kind of done. In comes Cloy, as he can just surf here, so you can just surf or boom or whatnot. I go Gar, as he goes for surf, and I'm pretty much just done at this point. So I go Cloy, hoping I get a boom off, but he can just go Gar anyway, so I'll probably just go Gar on my boom, as he does go Gar on the boom. And yeah, I go Tar, hoping that he doesn't get a Thunder and lands it, and I can just kill him with Earthquake. But he booms instead, boom kills me. And now it's pretty much just Machamp versus the world, and no way that's gonna happen with Machamp around, because I pretty much expected that he was just boom off, and he would boom a Cloy, so that was that. So he wins, and yeah. So this was just a disgusting game. There's really not much I can say about it. He pretty much got all the luck right here with the Jinx. So with the crit from Jinx, that definitely sucked. And with the no sleep rolls, that also sucked as well. I don't think there was a way around this, to be fair. Again, this team was just straight up offense. I know I made a pretty big risk going for Thunder early, but I had to do it. I feel like I had to do it. Maybe if I went... Sorry about that. Maybe if I went Lax on the Jinx, that might have been better. That probably was the better play to make. But I don't know. I was kind of afraid of him being like Thief, Lovely Kiss, Jinx. So that's why I went for Thunder instead. If he was Thief, Lovely Kiss, then that would have weakened my Lax, and that would have been a bad time for me. And again, he's running like boom offense. So yeah. I don't know if going Lax was worth it. Maybe it was. Maybe it wasn't. But maybe it would have prevented the sweep, or would have prevented the Jinx from beating my Zapdos. But I felt like Thunder was safe, so that's why I did it. I don't regret my Thunder play at all. But the crit definitely hurt me a lot. So yeah, that's that. So we lose our game. Again, not much to say about it. This is actually the quickest GSC game of the week. So yeah, we lose, and that's pretty much that. I was pretty much done. Like, again, after losing against Oibaf and losing against Patate, I was just like, what is this game anymore? Like, what is this game anymore? Like, what's the point of still playing this out if I'm just gonna lose every game like this? So yeah, I just have like I had a pretty like bad attitude about these matches. Like, I was just not very optimistic about playing anymore. So yeah, just wasn't in the mood, or just wasn't really like certain about my games, and just kind of played straightforward. So let's go to the last game of this PPL. So this was against GLF. I played him before for GSC Open, and I believe I actually got pretty lucky when I faced him for that game. But this week, I think I was thinking about using Heracross, so I used Heracross for this week. So let's see what happens. Okay, we have Raikou versus Cloy. Not a good lead for me at all, because I'm not trying to get thundered. So he's gonna go into Raikou. I go into Raikou as he brings in Raikou, or as he brings in Cloy, and I go for Thunderbolt on his Raikou switch. So goes back into it. I go for Thunderbolt again, as he's gonna go for Roar. So he's running Roar, Raikou, which means that he's running Rest, which means he's not running Sleep Talk. So that's definitely in my favor if I can get spikes down. So Heracross being in here isn't exactly the best thing in the world, because he could have something that could take on Heracross, like a Skarmory or something like that. So what I do is I just go into Raikou again. So I go back into Raikou. He brings in Lax this time. I go for Thunderbolt, doing some damage to it. Now what I can do is go back into Cloy, or even go Golem. So I went Golem in case he wanted to go back into Raikou on my Cloy switch, but he just said I'm just gonna stay in and just go for a double edge. So he did that instead. I go Cloy here as he's gonna go for Cloy of his own. So he is gonna catch my Cloy. I get my Tauntic on the Cloy as he gets his spike down, and I can spike down back as he'll be taking damage the next turn. So he goes for spike there, taking 11%. I get my spike back. So now what I can do is surf him, chip him a little bit. But he goes Mischievous there. So he goes Mischievous right there as I get my surf off, doing some damage to it, but not a ton. And now this is where things go downhill. I go Raikou here as I'm trying to see if he has Thunder. He goes for Tauntic instead. So him going for Tauntic was a good play since I did catch whatever I'd switch into. I go Golem here as he is going to go back into Lax. And now what I can do is spin, but I can't really spin because of Mischievous. So what I do is I go for Earthquake instead in case he predicted. But he didn't. So yeah, I go Zapdos here in case he goes back into Mischievous, but he just stays in again. I go for T-Wave here, as he can just rest, so that didn't really work out too well for me since he's rest talk. Since he's rest talk, so I can phase him. Skarmory's in here, so it's not looking too bad right now. I can go for a Thunderbolt I can go for a Thunder here as I get the Thunder and does a pretty good chunk to the Raikou, keeping it low. He will be forced to rest, so I can go back into Raikou and rest up my own. So he actually goes for Roar instead. So that was a good roar on his part. I can go for the Mega Horn, but it's not going to kill Raikou, so I have to go back into Raikou on the Skarm play because he should go back into Skarm, which he does. So now I can just rest up. I can rest up here as he goes back into Lax. So I rest my Raikou here, and what I'm trying to do is get Golem in so I can spin. So I'm gonna have to try and do that soon. I go Cloy here as he is going to go for a Sleep Talk here and get a rest off instead. So he's gonna be able to fully rest off again. I can surf here again, which is still relatively safe, and keep that low or just chip it a little bit more. So he goes for Sleep Talk again, gets a rest again. So now I think no, I go for surf again, don't I? Or I switch. Oh no, I surf again. So I keep the Mischievous low still. And now this is where I believe I mess up. No, not yet. I go Golem here as he goes for the rest. So he rests there. Now what I do is I believe I went for the spin on the switch. Or I quaked. I probably quaked still. No, I did spin there. So I spun there. So I got the spin there right. Now what he does is he goes for the spin of his own. So when I saw Spin Cloy, I was just like, why is Spin Cloy on this kind of team? Like, it didn't look like this team was stalled to me, but apparently it was stall. Even though it doesn't look like stall at all, because he's got the he has Raikou, which can take on Zapdos, and yeah, he has Skarmory, which can take on Lax, and he has Mischievous as well, which takes on Mono Lax. But outside that, though, it didn't really look like stall to me, so I was confused why he was running Spin. So he's going to show off the Spin. I can go back into Golem as he's going to go into Raikou, so I do catch the Raikou there at least. What I can do is Earthquake, but I go Cloy in case he wanted to go back into Cloy or Skarm, which he did go back into Skarm, so I can go for a Spike here as he goes back into Cloy. Now, it's interesting, right? I believe I went for Surf again, or I went for my Spike again. I probably went for Surf again. Yeah, I do go for the Surf again, so Mischievous is still getting worn down, which is good. And now what I believe I do is I switch back into Zapdos, yeah. So I switch back into Zapdos. I go for the Thunder and miss as he goes for a Earthquake and misses as well. So I can just phase it again. So I go for Whirlwind here as he goes for Earthquake, and I just phase him one more time. So I phase him around again. Mischievous is back, and I can Thunder here again pretty safely. So I do believe I go for it again, and I do it. I land it. I do 31%, which is really good damage. He's forced to go for the recovery, so I go into Golem here as he goes for Double Edge instead, and he gets a massive crit. And that crit is very big because that's going to allow him to go for Earthquake again. I have to Boom here, I could Boom, but I go for Earthquake instead. As he goes Skarm, go back in Raikou, as he can just go for Toxic. So I'm going back into Golem on the Lax play, which he does go back into Lax here. And now what I believe I do is I go for the Earthquake again, and he goes for Earthquake back, and that's going to kill my Golem. So Golem dying is not that great, especially this early on. I go for Thunder and I miss, and he gets to rest up. So this is not looking good right now. All the momentum died when Golem died, so I have to Thunder again. He goes for Double Edge again, or he goes for Earthquake again. I could start phasing one more time, but I keep going for Thunder. But he will wake up now, and he'll be able to, rest again. So I'm wasting Thunders one more. I'm wasting Thunders every time, but I'm just trying to get some damage on this. Chip it down. Tar's there, so there's the Tar. So Tar's there now. I go Lax here as he goes back into Lax. So now what he can do is go back into Skarm, as I can go for the Body Slam here. So I go for the Body Slam there. Goes back into Lax as I go for Raikou again. So Raiku's back. I have to go for Thunderbolt, but I double back into Lax here as he goes for Earthquake. Earthquake not doing a ton. What I do here is I go for the Body Slam again, trying to get a Para. No Para on the Skarm, which I really would have needed. It would have been very nice to have. I go Raikou here as he goes for Toxic. So he'll go back into Lax, or go back into Raikou as I go for my Sleep Talk here, and I get a Thunderbolt. So at least some damage, but there's still the off chance that he gets paralyzed, so I'm still going to try and go off those odds. I go for Thunderbolt again, and I get the roll, and he's still paralyzed. So if I get a crit HP Ice, I can kill this. So I'm going for it, and I don't get it, but he still gets paralyzed, so I have to go for one more. And if I do get it, this is a dead Raikou. But Raikou lives it, and he's going to rest off. And that's going to be a lot of Raikou that's going to be living. And that means his team is going to be handling Zapdos even better now. So yeah, nothing really changed for him. Skarmory's back. I go back and Zap. And we're just playing catch-up again. So goes back into Raikou. I have to phase him one more time. So I phase him again. Back in Cloy. So Cloy's going to take Poison plus Spike damage. Or actually going to take Spike damage. I have to go for Thunder as I do land my Thunder. And again, since he's not Sleep Talk, I can just keep phasing this around. So Chloe's going to take some damage and poison. I get to phase him again. And now Mischievous is in here. I could go for Thunder again, or I could just phase him one more time. Raiku's back in. I can phase again. So far it's looking very, very good. Because now I can just Thunder here. And I miss. And he gets to spin. And that's so annoying as shit. It's so annoying because now I can still Spike. But still that Thunder miss is just going to be so irritating. It's so bad. It's so bad. So Raiku's back. And I can't get any momentum going because of that Spike being gone. So while I still can't get my Spike down, it's going to be a little bit difficult now. Because Lax is going to wake up soon. Raiku's also going to wake up next turn. I go for Thunderbolt. I get a crit Thunderbolt, but it doesn't matter. Because he can just Sleep Talk and potentially get a rest. So I go back in Lax. He goes for Earthquake. Doing 22% to me, so not too bad damage. Skarm can come back in, so I just go for Body Slam. So I Body Slam there. And this Lax actually has an Earthquake, but I haven't gone for it yet because I need to see what else is he going to do. So he Sleep Talks, and guess what? He Thunders me. And yeah, there's no momentum being gained now since Spikes are gone. So I can Thunderbolt him all I want, but he can just Sleep Talk it, rest off, and have to go for some crits again. Don't get a crit, he rests ups again, and it's just not looking good, man. It's just not looking good. Back in Raikou, go back in Skarm. You can double back into Raikou, or back in Lax. I go for Thunderbolt again, doing some damage, but honestly, there's no way around this anymore. So I go back into Lax. He goes for Double Edge. You can just keep double edging too. As he'll wake up. I go for Body Slam. I get a crit, which is big. But you can just double edge again, doing 38%. So I have to hope that I win the speed time. I can double and I can Body Slam kill him. If I get the Body Slam, then I can do it. Goes back into I go Raikou here. So now he put himself in a position where Raikou can actually 2 KO the Zapdos now, or the Lax. Zapdos comes in though. So what I can do is go back and Lax on the Rock Slide, which was not a good play at all because that's gonna be really bad for me. So that was not the play I should have done. He suits me and I die. So yeah, I go Raikou. And he goes back in Mischievous. I Thunderbolt him. Thunderbolt's gonna be a 2 KO now. He goes back into, well, he actually sacks Raikou now, or he sacks this now. Now he goes Lax, and he can just rest this off. I have to go for a crit Thunderbolt. I don't get it, and he's gonna recover that off again, and we're right back to square one. So back in Zap. Double Electric still has a way around this, but it's just the matter of, landing Thunder and such. So I go for HP Ice first. Goes for Double Edge, does a lot to me. I have to land Thunder, so I have a chance to bring this back, but Yeah, I don't land it. I miss any double edges again, and yeah, this game's over. Game's pretty much over. So I thunder here. I hopefully get a para. I don't get it, and that's GG. Can't beat Reiku anymore. Can't beat Lax, and that's that. So I lose. So honestly, this was probably the worst I've ever done in a tournament. Yeah, these games were probably the worst I've ever done in a tournament. Going 0-7. Yeah, I don't know how to feel about how I played at all. Like, well, let's talk about the positives for this game. I think some of the positives, I think I played a lot better than I did last week, or that I did the week before when I played luck versus skill, or luck over skill. I definitely think I played a lot better. I was able to at least like contain myself a little bit more, but where I messed up, well, no, it really came down to, you know, like some trivial things like landing thunder and thunder killing. If thunder landed, then spikes would have stayed up and Cloyster would have died, and then I would have had an easier time against the last 4 mons on his team. But because thunder misses and thunder has bad accuracy, I have to just take the L from that, and it's that. Not much else I could have done. Really nothing else I could have done to prevent it. Body slam or double edge EQ Lax destroys this team. You know, honestly, if I did an earthquake, I don't know how to really use Golem, to be honest. Like, I don't think I used it well at all. Like, I tried to use it defensively, but you can't really use Golem defensively because it gets 3 KO'd by Earthquake from Lax. So, it's not really a mon you want to stay in with Earthquake on. So, maybe I should have went into Zapdos more, and then double edged, and then tried to thunder him down, forcing the Reiku back in to take more damage. Maybe that was better instead of actually going Golem every time. Like, sure, I was able to prevent the spikes from being up the whole game, but I lost a matchup where pretty much Heracross won. Heracross won if Skarmory was dead, but there was just a lot more factors into it, like, again, Reiku and Skarmory. But if Skarmory goes, then Heracross wins. But he never needed to bring in Skarmory because I have double electric, and he pretty much played around that with his own Reiku, and just, you know, kept it alive still, and kept the Lax alive to just recover stall. So yeah. And then there's the fact he caught every earthquake and just earthquake back. So yeah, just a disappointing game. It's just disappointing. Also, I didn't really use Lax that well, especially since my Lax was Boom. I was running Boom Lax on this team. Like, this was basically a Boom offense team, but I wasn't aggressive enough against him, and because of that, that is also going to be my downfall. So, but it's like I didn't really know when to boom and when not to boom. Like, if Mischievous had died like a turn earlier, then I could have been able to boom. Then I might have been able to boom on some things a little bit more effectively, but there was no way I was getting a boom off without Mischievous there, so I don't know what I could have done to prevent that mon from doing what it did. Maybe again, keep the Golem alive. If I kept Golem alive, then Mischievous would have been dealt with a lot more easily, or would have been dealt easily. But again, I guess I'm just not as good. I guess I'm just not that good at GSC, or at least I'm not as good as I thought I was on like a higher level. So after looking at these games and just reviewing them again, I realized that I think I need to take a reset on GSC and just like rethink how I'm playing this game, because I realized that throughout these games I played like I was trying to make predictions, you know? I played like I was making predictions. Sometimes predictions aren't really needed, especially in a meta game where mons are so bulky that even if you do get the right prediction, it doesn't matter in the end of the day. So I guess so. I guess I really have been playing GSC like it's a new gen, which is not how I should be playing it. I shouldn't be playing it like it's Gen 6, Gen 7, Gen 8. It's Gen 2, where I can take my time with this metagame. So I'm gonna like dedicate myself to actually taking time with this meta and just not rushing it, because what's the point of rushing it when everything isn't dying in one hit? So yeah, um, I definitely think that PPO was a learning experience. I will, take my losses and just, apply them and relearn this metagame. Or at least relearn the metagame and just, play smarter. Because again, these games were winnable. These were winnable games, but I just played way too aggressively, and I just didn't take my time with any of these games, and it just is what it is. I just didn't take my time well. So yeah. Again, it's disappointing. It's very disappointing that I didn't do well. For myself, it's just disappointing I didn't do well, but yeah, I think I learned a lot though from playing PPL. So if you guys actually managed to watch this whole video, well, you're the GOAT. I was gonna say you're just the GOAT. And I hope you guys will be on my journey through GSC, because I really want to take my time with this meta and just, not be a liability for my team. Because, again, going 0-7 is just an embarrassment. Like, I don't think anyone in the GSC chat will ever say, or I don't think anyone like that plays GSC will be like, oh, he was pretty good. Nah, they probably just like troll me and just say I'm just bad at this meta game. But yeah, I just need to take my time more with this. Just reevaluate how I'm playing this meta. So that's that. Hope you guys again enjoyed this video. If you guys did, please make sure to leave a like and comment on the video. Again, letting me know, what do you all think? How do you think I should have played this game and such? Like, what do you think I need to work on so I can do better in GSC and whatnot? That's pretty much that. Again, I'm disappointed with my loss, but I'm at least happy that the Dragoons made it to semifinals. So yeah, if my teammates are watching, which they probably aren't, so happy that we made it though. But yeah, that's that. Be safe, wash your hands, and peace out.